Yeah, YouTube is ready.
Welcome to the Nerd Soul Show. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Colin.
Hey, so we're going to talk about the third episode of Loki, which is, I think, entitled Dementis. Is
Yes.
Yeah,
It's the planet's name,
this is the
the
planet's
place
name.
that they were at. Yeah.
It actually shows up in Marvel Comics, so it wasn't created for the show. I think, for what I recall, has to do with like the Nova Corps or something like that.
Hmm.
So we are going to, as we usually do, talk about the show in a spoiler-free fashion, what we thought about the show, and then we're going to get into spoiler talk. So, Colin, what did you think of the episode this week?
I think that they really just kind of narrowed the scope of the whole episode and made it just a kind of a. It was very interesting in terms of they're playing along with the kind of like the interaction between two people, and so this time it's not the same person that we're used to before, but it's a different person to have that type of interaction with. And I think that it just kind of speaks to, I would say, the amount of talent that Tom Hiddleston has had with all these different characters that he's interacting with in a way where like it's very compelling and it's very visceral at times too. So I really enjoyed just this kind of like romp as well. This kind of adventure that he's with this other person. But we'll get into kind of like who that is in the spoiler part. But definitely, I enjoyed the episode. Just kind of again, what I said last week, it was kind of edge of my seat in some ways, kind of like what's going to happen next and such. So it's just kind of kept me kind of guessing and kept me interested throughout the whole episode.
Yeah, so they, like you said, they definitely, like you alluded to, they definitely slowed down the episode or slowed down things, given where things ended last episode, because it seemed like, I mean, I guess it's spoilers for the last episode, but if you're watching this, you probably should have seen the last episode. At the end of the last episode, they we saw that the Lady Loki sent things to multiple timelines. So it seems like things are going to, at the beginning of this episode, things are going to pick up from there. But we go in a different direction, and it's a different direction for a good reason, I think. And like you said, Tom Hiddleston is just a really great actor, and who he's bouncing off is also really, really good as well. So I think it's a good episode to get a little bit more backstory for Loki and also this other person also, which you can probably guess given how the end of the last episode ended. But I don't want to necessarily give it away until we start talking about spoiler stuff. But I definitely think it was a good episode. It was definitely slower than the first two episodes, even though there was some action. There was actually a couple fights in this, and there weren't many fights in the first two episodes. It's just that they had fights, and then they had long portions of like dialogue and trying to, and
Hmm.
actually, and like character pieces where you're trying to actually understand the characters.
Hmm.
So that's why it seems slower, even though not only did they have more action, but there was a continuous shot of action at one point, which was really exciting. And there was nothing like that in the other two episodes. But I think just because there was more talking in this one, and there was less world building sort of stuff, it's more like character building stuff.
Hmm.
It seemed a little bit slower. It was
Hmm.
definitely still good episode though.